Can we recover losing accounts? My Darwinex Zero account hit a big drawdown a few days before I was about to get my allocation. I had to make a choice. Reset it or try something different. I chose the second option, and what happened after that surprised me and changed how I view losing accounts. Let's take a look. So what you can see on the screen at the moment is the track record for the account that I've linked to FX Blue, and this is linked to my MetaTrader account that I am trading on Darwinex Zero. And what you can see is that I started this account in, I think it was at the end of March, towards the end of March, and I tried a few different EAs, I tried a few different systems. You can see that we did have some good growth, and then we had a drawdown, and then it went up and down a little bit. But right around this point is where I placed the Sharpshooter onto my account. We had some really nice growth, it was doing very well, and then at the end of July, we had this massive drawdown. I could either simply restart my account, so in other words, close this one and just restart it again and just put in new EAs, go through the calibration phase, try and get to silver again, try and get allocation again, or I could do something different. Now, just to put this into perspective for you, when this happened, I was just a few days away from getting my allocation. I was in a rating of 80, and you need a rating of 75 or more to get your allocation. I'll discuss that in a second. And I was on 80, and then this basically brought me right down to something like 40 or 45. And if you get a rating of 75 or more, your allocations start at 30,000. So what does that actually mean? So you have your two accounts. You've got your 100K account, which you trade with, and then you've got your allocation account. So the percentage that you make in your MetaTrader account relates to the profit split that you're going to get, or rather the management fee that you're going to get. So it's not necessarily a 1-to-1 ratio. So it doesn't mean that if you're doing 10% in your MetaTrader, you'll get 10% in your Darwinex. What also comes into play there is your risk. And let me show you what I mean by that, right? So this is my Darwinex, and you can see again that my graph here looks very similar to the MetaTrader. So I had this in the beginning, this up and down, and then we had this nice smooth growth. Then we had this big drawdown, which here was only 9%, and that was due to the risk engine, and that is what I want to explain to you. So if we look currently, my risk is set to 0.44. So what that means essentially is that for every one lot that I trade in my MetaTrader account, I will trade 0.44 lots in my Darwinex. It's not exactly like that, but that's the simplest way to explain it. And how that gets calculated is in the background by Darwinex Zero, and it depends on your strategy, it depends on how long you've been trading a particular strategy, how well it's been doing. They take the drawdowns into account, they take the profit, is it a grid, is it not a grid? So there's a lot of factors that play into it. But essentially what happened was that I had this drawdown, and it was less than the MetaTrader, and that's where the risk engine really does help you. And then exactly at this point here, I thought, okay, what am I going to do now? Am I going to simply restart it? Because it would have just cost me 38 euros to restart it. Or am I going to just give this a try and try something a bit different? And that is exactly what I did. So I went into the settings. This is the older version, and the settings are a little bit different to the new one. So the new one does have additional protection to try and prevent the drawdown that we saw, although that can also be set in the stop loss. But if we go down to the settings where I set my risk, that is right here, the risk factor. Okay, so what you can see is that in the settings, it explains to you that if you set it to 1, your starting lot is going to be 0.1 lots for every 10,000 in the account. So this is a 100K account. So in other words, if I had this set to 1, it would be opening trades with one full lot because it's 0.1 per 10,000. So for 100,000, we just multiply it by 10. I had this set to 0.5, so I wanted to trade a little bit lower risk. What I did was after the drawdown is that I actually increased this to 2. So I multiplied it by 4 and I increased my risk 4 times. The reason I did that was because the Sharpshooter in the past has really done very well. And, just looking at the FX Blue again, and see that in the past, it's really been a very good EA. We've traded it on many of our accounts. It's always done very well for us right up until this drawdown here. This was really an anomaly. I'd run back tests. I'd seen the vendors' previous track records, and nothing like this had happened for a number of years. So I felt fairly confident that it was worth risking it because, again, it's a Darwinex Zero account and I can simply restart it if I need to. So why not try something a little bit different, which is what I did. So what I did was, as I said, I went into the settings and I changed that. So I quadrupled my risk. Now the result of that is that I now have my next allocation. So what we can see, so we have the drawdown, and then I increased it and it was growing. There was a little bit of a drawdown there, it grew some more, a little bit of a drawdown here, although this was just an equity drawdown. And that's why we see this big growth afterwards, because I had a lot of trades in a equity drawdown waiting for the market to recover, which it did. And as soon as it did, all of those trades closed and we had this growth here. Now, when we got to this point here, when all the trades closed, my rating went up to 76 and I actually stopped trading. So I turned off the auto trading on the platform and I secured my allocation, which you can do. I didn't want to be greedy because exactly what happened here was that this happened on the 28th and I was doing very well. My rating was at over 80 at this point. So I wanted to try and get as high an allocation as possible, more than 30,000, maybe 40,000 or even 50,000. And then this happened. So I decided to do a little bit differently here. I got to my rating of 76 and I paused my trading, and that was, as you can see, on the 18th. Okay, and then at the end of the month, I got my allocation, which you can see right here, it's been allocated to me. Then on the 1st of October, today is the 4th, on the 1st of October, I re-enabled my algo trading, and I also made a few changes to the account. Let me show you what I did. So before, I had the dark algo trading with 3 pairs of the dark nova and the sharpshooter. However, the dark algo and the dark nova, 2 of the charts were the same. They were both trading the Aussie CAD. And I felt like I was overexposed, so I decided to change it up a bit, and I put the dark gold in place of the dark algo. And I actually also closed one of the charts that I had the dark nova running on, which was the Aussie New Zealand. It is recommended for 3 pairs, but the Aussie CAD and the New Zealand CAD have been doing quite well, and the Aussie New Zealand has been doing too well. So there didn't seem to be much reason to keep it on here. And I created a new set file for the dark gold, which I will show you in a future video because I have it on another Darwinex Zero account and it's doing very well so far. And this is how I am going to trade this account, at least for this month. So we'll see what happens. If we go back to the Darwinia, you can see that I started the month on about 60. So obviously because it's a new month, you don't get your high rating immediately, you have to earn it. So I started this in about 60 and after 2 or 3 days of trading, it's already close to 64. So hopefully it continues like this and I will get another allocation at the end of this month. And if I do, of course, I will let you know about it. Okay, so I'm excited to see what this decision will look like long term. I might change things up a bit again, so if you want to follow my progress, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. This way you'll know when I share free resources, which I do quite often. In the meantime, take a look at this awesome EA that costs less than $100 and includes 5 licenses. As always, I will leave a link to the track record of this account, Darwinex Zero, and the robots that I've shown you in the video. Thanks for watching, trade safe, and I'll see you soon.